All right, we do 4 hours every morning. This is old school radio, retro radio, and I love it. I absolutely love it, and we're honored to have you listen every single morning, 7:28 out of New York on this Tuesday, December 17th. But at the end of 4 hours, if you don't get a solution from somebody on the radio, sometimes people will do an hour show and they'll rant, and you go, yeah, and it'll make you feel better if no, you got to come up with a solution. I think it's your responsibility as a broadcaster with a broadcast license from the Federal Communications Commission to come up with a solution. It's a public service. So that's why we reach out to Chris Grollnek. Every time there's a shooting, we go to Chris. He's an active shooting expert who has, in a very pragmatic tone, the answers to stop these school shootings. And no one listens. A lot of the time people listen when we talk about politics, they listen. And then you'll see people who are very powerful, but we're very, very honored to have those folks listen as well. So let's go to Chris and let's get some solutions on school shootings. Chris, welcome back. Here we go again, my friend, but thank you for taking the time with us this morning, Chris Grollnek.
Good morning, Joe.
So here we go. Let's start here. What happened? Walk us through, if you would, what happened in Madison, Wisconsin. Beautiful Madison, Wisconsin. School shooting, 2 deceased, female shooting. Walk us through this, if you would, Chris.
Well, this is going to be one of those, another tragic incident. We're all going to feel bad for a long time. We're going to, provide solutions, watch some people take heed to them, and then, unfortunately, these are just going to occur. There's going to be another one. And I think some of the fear right now around this one is copycats or overreaction, as we saw in other shootings, where we start buying solutions that really don't solve any problems. And I appreciate the intro. The deceased shooter is a 15-year-old girl. Now, the phenomena of that, roughly, and this is arguable, but roughly, 5 active shooters in the past 25 years have been females. This will be number 6. Huh. Now, there's some others, right? But you have to get into a biological debate, and we're not going to do that this morning. But I shy away from that. But these are hard enough as they are. And when we start talking about gender and teenage girls or teenage boys on sports teams or whatever, loss of life of a teacher just trying to do her job, and solutions exist that could have prevented these things. And I'm not saying Wisconsin could have been prevented. I would just say the situation of where a 15-year-old can bring a loaded 9mm pistol into a school and do that kind of damage, something's missing, right? Besides the societal part that you and I have talked about, I'm not a behavioral science person, but you can just know from goodwill and being a good person and being decent, when everyone's going to come back and say, we knew this person was troubled. Because you and I have talked about it before. It's called leakage. 90% of these shooters say they're going to do something before they do it. Wow. And then the rest of the country's surprised when they do it. And I ask you, because maybe I'm tone deaf. Why? What went wrong? Is it a dollar figure? Is it the resources? We give away resources every day.
Yeah. You know what? I don't know. And they won't address mental illness. They will not address it.
Right.
And they, I'm telling you. So now, if they're not going to address mental illness and let the wackos, don't forget, just a couple of weeks ago in New York City, Chris Grollnek, this had nothing to do with a school shooting, but they had a homeless creep, forgive me, but the guy was mentally ill, should have been taken off the streets. They do not care. They let them roam the streets, and he killed 3 people in one morning. 3 dead New Yorkers, innocent people, just because they will not address mental illness. And maybe my hopes are that Donald Trump will understand this and make a change in the new administration. But so this gal walked in with a 9mm. We don't know how she got the gun. But you're telling me, and walk us through this, where you have technology, and is it expensive, that technology that will detect a gun on campus, Chris?
Not really. There's 17 solutions you can do to make a school as active shooter proof as it is fireproof. The problem with that is it's just not a good monetary benefit right now because it exceeds. We know the technology will outpace itself. So you have to pick 2 or 3 or 4 items, and you would always start somewhere with a threat assessment team. But the problem with the threat assessment team, this is important for your listeners, 100% of the schools that have had active shooters had threat assessment teams. They just don't know what to do with the data they have. So you need some type of collection database that can help those decisions be made autonomously. And then you have cameras that are in every school right now. You go to McDonald's, there's a camera. Well, there's AI that you can put inside cameras to detect a gun before a gun is ever fired. That way you're giving the police notification 5 minutes before any human can call the police. So these things happen from 0 to 8 minutes, and they're over usually. It takes police, 5 minutes, or it takes humans 5 minutes to call police, and police another 3 minutes to get there.
Yeah.
So if they're over in 8 minutes, and it takes police 8 minutes to get there, the police are just, they keep responding. And while we need them, I'm a retired police, we need police. We have to be solution-oriented for the public to get a return on investment, because you and I this morning, this is the price of return on regret. We didn't do enough. We didn't do enough to get the message out, and those families are going to be scarred forever, and our prayers are with them.
So walk me through that before we let you go, Chris, and thank you. So there's a device that you could put into a camera that a school could put up that will detect a gun. Is it a metal detector? Is it just it will detect gunpowder? What does it detect? But more importantly, how does it detect the gun? And is that available to schools everywhere?
Excellent question. So anyone that has a camera can install this type of AI material. And I'll just say it's this way, so I don't lose myself or the listeners, which probably are much smarter than I am. It's like, imagine an old TV, 10 years old, and you want to get Wi-Fi on it. You go buy a device at Best Buy, like a little USB plug, and you plug it in like a Roku. Now you have a smart TV. Well, it's the same thing with Scylla AI. It's like plugging in a Roku, where it gives you smart vision. It detects a firearm because it's more than object recognition. AI knows that somebody is walking with a gun because something is different in the atmosphere of what it knows.
Wow.
And it's called a neural network that keeps learning. And it knows how to progress, like a 5-year-old child that you can program with a perfect memory. It's just a sensor. It's invisible. And now you don't have to have a fortress. You can open the doors because you have the detection technology to let you know when something's wrong.
Chris, where can we find you again, please, online?
You can literally go to Google and just type in active shooter expert from the first 20 returns. So no search engine optimization. I'm trying to retire, and it's time. It's time to walk away. But these shootings keep happening. So we're not going to rest until we do better.
Yeah, God bless you for that. And if you're listening and you have school, now I know some of the schools in my area, I say they are in lockdown 24/7, and I as a parent appreciate that. But if you don't want to be that severe, or you're not that severe and your school is open, just check out activeshootingexpert.com. activeshootingexpert.com. Chris Grollnek, thanks for great service. Please, I hate to say stay close, but please keep us posted, because hopefully people are listening and they're listening to what you're saying, but I fear that it will happen again. And we always appreciate you being on top of it, Chris.
Thanks, Joe. I appreciate the time, and God bless the families and everyone else.
Thank you, sir, and thanks for your service. Chris Grollnek, former police officer and active shooting expert. activeshootingexpert.com.
With Miller Mott College's online programs, you can choose when you study. Our online programs give you the flexibility to make education work with your schedule. Earn your degree without derailing your life. Visit us online at miller-mott.edu. That's miller-mott.edu.